Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Ag Forecast for South America, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. A couple of maps to get us started here first. The one on the left, look over there, that is February 1st through February 21st, total accumulated precipitation as derived from satellite. You can see the heavier rainfall amounts that were in Mato Grosso, getting over the Tocantins, and then eventually to Minas Gerais. This was pretty well forecast by the models, as was the break, as you see right here, toward drier conditions farther to the south. The models did a very good job of picking up on this monsoonal pattern. But to understand regions that have been getting drier to the south here, what I did was I made the map on the right, which cuts out and makes white all locations that were below 2 inches of total accumulated precipitation over this 3-week time period. What we're doing is we're trying to see where we have pockets of drought developing, especially in southern Brazil and in Argentina. Now, during this same time period, I just want to make a point here that that same region, so parts of southern Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, and then getting to Argentina, did not see much in the way of sustained heat stress. It was hotter than average over here in Bahia, eastern parts of Mato Grosso, getting over into eastern parts of Mato Grosso do Sul and Minas Gerais here. So this is the area where we're seeing the above average temperatures. But let's take those precipitation maps down another layer. So over there on the left, you have now shown in white, okay, all locations that have had less than an inch of rainfall in the first 3 weeks of the month of February. And I'm going to specifically focus in here on parts of Argentina because we know there had been some heavier rainfall amounts in parts of Brazil, and the northern part of southern Brazil, this area through here, is harvesting a crop right now. But let's point out 3 areas. We're going to start with Buenos Aires. When you come to this province, you do notice that there is, over the last 3 weeks, there have been times where there's been decent precipitation, especially as you get over toward Buenos Aires here. But coming into Argentina central growing area, like Cordoba over towards Santa Fe, there are pockets that have been missed. And I'm going to talk to you about a weather station near Cordoba. Now, earlier in the season, see the dashed line here, or the dotted line here, the green one. You see that in October, November, well below the climatological averages on precipitation. But then in December, near average, and then in January here, above average on precipitation. But as of late, just look here, going back from the 2nd of the month through the 21st, the precipitation line is flat. They had a big rainfall event here to finish January and start February, but since then, not much precipitation has been measured. What's prevented this from being, I think, a bigger disaster was that when you look at the temperatures compared to normal, you can see that the maximum temperatures at this particular station have favored below normal numbers rather than hot. So that's one part about Cordoba. Let's now go over to Santa Fe. So we're going to just go from here to about right there. Same thing with precipitation. Drier early, but November precipitation was better than it was at this station than it was near Cordoba. But January, very, very wet for this particular station. Now, all that rainfall, though, came at the very end of the month. And since then, just like Cordoba, it has been very dry for the first 3 weeks of February. But the same thing as Cordoba showed, it had been cooler than average as well, which has avoided a lot of the potential stresses from this drier time period. Well, we start there because over the next week, we start to see more warmer conditions building in, especially at the end of the next 7-day time period. So getting out toward the weekend back into this part of Argentina. But we do overall see for much of Brazil in the next 7 days, and Argentina, near average temperatures on the whole. There's a couple pockets here of above average, but not too much. From there, let's talk about precipitation. I've got total accumulated over here on the left, and I have anomalies over here on the right. So again, we do see that this area in through here is drier. Now, there is a frontal boundary passing through parts of Buenos Aires, and it will go through today right through Cordoba over towards Santa Fe, and it could be bringing in some heavier rain. But after that, a big anticyclone or high pressure cell builds off the coast here, and as a result, we go into a drier time period for the remainder of the week and even into week 2 as well. You see, the week 2 model forecasts continue to show that Rio Grande do Sul, Uruguay, and Argentina are favoring drier conditions out here through the first week of March, with much wetter conditions, up toward Paraná, stretching into Mato Grosso do Sul and Mato Grosso. So that area, which is actively trying to harvest a crop, seeing above average precipitation through the next 2 weeks, whereas down in Argentina, we see drier conditions. Now, bigger picture things. The La Nina is making its second little resurgence here. The Southern Oscillation Index has popped back up into, increasing values. The Antarctic Oscillation keeps hovering just above, zero, which makes this pattern make a bit of sense. But the MJO trying to collapse back toward null space, what I'm trying to tell you is predicting beyond the next couple of weeks, even though we do it, okay? You look over the next 7 to 14 days, we do see above average temperature starting to encroach here with cooler weather, Paraguay, Mato Grosso do Sul. But when you look out there longer term, this is through the entire month of March, seeing that the models are picking up on a drier bias in the area that I'm shading, I've got pretty low confidence in it right now. And it's just because there's not a strong teleconnection signal pointing toward this. But the European model, it's the best global model we have, so we're going to look at it carefully and see how it continues to analyze things. So at this point moving forward, my concerns are primarily going to be down in Argentina with the fact that the first 3 weeks of February have been dry, and the forecast wants to keep dry or very sporadic and scattered rainfall at best. So let's keep an eye on this together. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.